Hello, friends, and welcome into NBA Weekly, brought to you by the Game Time app. Harris, let's dive right in to some news and rumors, starting with, of course, the biggest news item of the day, Kyrie Irving. He's done for the year.
Yeah, Tom, we're also diving into a pool of my tears because I am just so distraught that Kyrie Irving is not going to be in the playoffs. It's sad. This is just not going to be as fun of a playoff series without Kyrie Irving this year. It's just not going to be nearly as good. It sucks, but you have to kind of go back to why exactly he's getting this knee surgery. If you remember from when Kyrie Irving wanted to get traded from the Cavs, he mentioned that he was going to sit out the entire season with this knee injury if they didn't trade him. So this isn't the first time that we've heard about this surgery.
Well, this is also the second surgery. He had the one earlier this weekend. This time around, they actually found a bacterial infection.
Yes.
And that's the reason why he had to go undergo this surgery. They had to take the screws out. So he is out for the entire season. He's not going to play again this year, not even in the playoffs.
No, he's done. He's going to take about 4 to 5 months to recover. It's a shame. This is actually from a surgery he got during the 2015 playoffs where he got those 2 screws inserted in his knee. So, the Cavs coming back, it's funny because, the Celtics were hoping that the Cavs didn't catch on to how bad Isaiah Thomas's hip was. Maybe the Cavs were hoping that the Celtics wouldn't catch on to how bad Kyrie Irving's knee was. But Kyrie Irving is now gone, so hopefully we can get to a point where Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward and Al Horford and everyone on the whole Celtics team is healthy because they were without a question the most injured team all season long. They could never get healthy.
We do want to know from you, and Harris, I want to know from you as well, how far will the Celtics go without Kyrie?
It depends on who they get matched up with along the way, and it depends how the seeding ends up going out.
Let's say it's the Wizards.
They can beat the Wizards. The 2 teams they aren't going to be able to beat is the Cavs or the Raptors, and you have to kind of hope and pray that somehow, some way, they don't end up facing one of those before the Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe the Cavs just flame out of the playoffs in the first round because they still don't play defense, Tom. But for the most part, this entire Celtics team is in a lot of trouble. They got to find out a way how to stay healthy. But it's also their fault. I mean, Kyrie Irving, let's be honest, if you go back in Kyrie Irving's career, he's never actually been the most durable player in his career. So we'll see how this knee injury affects Kyrie going forward, but it sucks. We're not going to be able to see this Celtics team at full throttle. They're now down their 2 best players on the entire team and the 2 highest paid players on the team as well. It's a shame.
All I'm going to say is this sets up very well for the Cavs to make it back to the Eastern Conference because the Celtics don't have Kyrie. And, of course, the Toronto Raptors are never good in the postseason. Speaking of potential returns here, what about Jimmy Butler? Could he return tonight?
So, not quite yet. So, Jimmy Butler wanted to return tonight. He's really been practicing hard. He was actually in team workouts on Tuesday, but he isn't going to quite get there. We're giving this one head so far. It's not likely. It's not going to happen. We're hoping that Jimmy Butler can come back for the playoffs. That's the T-Wolves' goal. That's what the goal has been the entire time. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. This is one of the toughest players in the entire NBA, mind you. So the Wolves haven't done as well when he's been gone. They've only gone 8-8. They've stayed in the playoff hunt, which was the entire point. But look, this is a Wolves team that desperately needs their leader back on the court. Karl-Anthony Towns is a really good player, but he just doesn't have that tenacity and the intensity that Jimmy Butler brings to the table. He says he's not quite ready. I'm going to believe him. Probably not going to play tonight, but he might play either the next game that they have or just sit out until the start of the playoffs.
If you're wondering what these crying Jordan means, Harris, why don't you break it down here with our rumor explainer graph here with what's going on when you see the crying Jordan heads.
So 0 crying Jordans, Tom. It's fake news. It's a Mutombo finger wag. You're rejected. Get that stuff out of here. 1 crying Jordan, it's a small shred of truth. It's about a 25% chance that it's going to happen. Very unlikely. 2 crying Jordans, people are talking. About a 50-50 shot. Could go either way. Strictly a rumor. 3 crying Jordans, it's pretty likely. About a 75% chance. And then 4 crying Jordans, it's Curry for 3. It's bang. It's happening. It's a 100% chance. This is basically news.
All right, let's get now to Kawhi Leonard, of course, one of the major talking points of late around the NBA. Are teams lining up to potentially trade for Kawhi?
So we're giving this one 3 heads. It's pretty likely because it is pretty likely that they are lining up. This is coming from ESPN, multiple different people. It's coming from Zach Lowe. It's coming from Woj, and it's also coming from Brian Windhorst. So when it's coming from the 3 big wigs of the NBA coverage for ESPN, you know this has to be true. Zach Lowe had a great quote in a recent tweet saying, quote, "Vultures are circling. They are waiting for the offseason to attempt to make a trade for Kawhi Leonard. He's only played in 9 games so far this year. Brian Windhorst says that a trade might come around during the draft, but for the most part, this is a situation that nobody saw coming. We never would have expected Kawhi Leonard to be on the trade block, but here we are. Kawhi Leonard might end up getting traded this offseason, and a prediction from one, I believe it was either Tracy McGrady or actually Jerry Stackhouse, saying that they think he could go to the Lakers. So we'll see what happens with him.
Interesting there.
Or Steven Anderson, excuse me, not Stackhouse.
All right, folks, I do want to know from you guys here, should the Spurs consider trading Kawhi Leonard, or should it be a no, let's hold on to him all together? Harris, where do you fall on this one?
No. You should not trade Kawhi Irving. What's Kawhi Irving? Kawhi Leonard. But you need to ask him if he's going to sign the Supermax with you next year. That's the big question. You go to Kawhi and you basically lay out, you stay, you get $200 million. By the way, no income tax in the state of Texas, so he gets that $200 million. But if he leaves and goes to Los Angeles, look, there's a lot of different ways that Kawhi Leonard's career could go. He landed in the perfect spot with the Spurs. I think his career is going to take a big hit if he goes to another team. I don't know if he'd be as good in a system away from Pop. I'm not saying he's a system player, but at the same time, it's the Spurs. Exactly. And I think that they get the most out of him. I still think he has the best chance of performing there.
All right. Speaking of Kawhi, is he going to return at all this year, Harris?
We're going to give this one 2 heads because nobody still really knows. We're still in the 50-50
kind of low
category.
On time here.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of time. I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back. I also don't think he wants to come back. I think that the team has really hurt him in a lot of ways. And look, he went to New York City this weekend to rehab. This is the second time now he's gone to New York City, kind of hidden to go for more treatment because he doesn't like how the Spurs, our training staff, has dealt with him. So we don't have a timetable for when he's going to come back. He could go back tomorrow. He could go back in the second round of the playoffs. He can go back next season. Nobody has any idea. He doesn't even know yet, and that's the problem. Kawhi, this entire situation has revolved around when does Kawhi Leonard want to come back, and he doesn't know when he wants to come back, and hence the problem.
All right, today's show is brought to you by the Game Time app. And Harris, I want to mention this as well because it is the #1 app for last-minute basketball tickets. Today's show is brought to you by the Game Time app, but I'll mention this as well, Harris. I use the Game Time app, and I like to use it because it makes my life easier. It's much faster to get tickets, and wait till last minute. That's how you save the most money. And I've used the Game Time app to watch this player, number 5 on our news and rumor roundup, Dirk Nowitzki, who I can't use it to watch him anymore. He's out for the year.
No, he is out for the year. We're giving this one 4 heads. It's a shame, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter, seeing as there's about 4 to 5 games left in the season. He plays in the Mavs. But yeah, we're going to give this one 4 heads. He's out for the year. Sorry, Dirk. He's going to have ankle surgery. It's time for well, he's coming back next year, so it's not time for Dirk to retire. But we are going to see him again.
All right. Do the Cavs not know that LeBron James is going to come back for the return?
This is fascinating. The answer is no, they didn't know that he was returning back in 2014. This is coming from ex-Cavs GM David Griffin, so it has to be true. There were some rumblings about this that the Cavs had no clue that he was going to come back and never actually let them know until he signed the contract that he was coming, and boom, all of a sudden LeBron James is back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And the quote that he had was great. Quote, "We didn't believe for a second he was coming back." And now LeBron's putting through the Cavs through this whole thing all over again. But look, this is crazy, the fact that LeBron has just continued to do this with the Cavs. He left them without telling them. He came back basically without telling them. Now he's going to leave again and probably not tell them. So he's kind of putting the Cavs through a little bit of a ringer here. But just a crazy story from former Cavs GM David Griffin. Never would have expected him to actually confirm this, but here we are.
All right, 3 more items left here. Stan Van Gundy, is he going to come back or is he out as the Pistons head coach / GM?
Well, he's going to come back most likely as the head coach. They don't want to get rid of his system entirely, so we're giving this one 2 heads for strictly in the rumor category. He might get replaced as the GM and the president of basketball operations. He might get kicked out from that role and stay on as the head coach, mostly because, look, the roster construction of the Pistons, as I've complained about many times to you, Tom, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. You have awesome Blake Griffin and great with Andre Drummond, but after that, it's Reggie Jackson. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. The drafting also has been absolutely terrible, so only 2 heads for this so far.
All right, speaking of front offices, is Mitch Kupchak going to go become the new Hornets, I guess, president of basketball operations, a.k.a. GM?
He is. We are giving this one 4 heads. He's replacing Rich Cho, who got fired earlier in the season. So the former Lakers GM, I should say, is coming to Charlotte. Big-time get for them, though I will say this, Tom. Big-time missed opportunity. They should have just made Buzz Peterson the GM. Why do you think?
Well, I think that the Hornets want a big name because that's what Michael Jordan always does.
No, Tom, they should have kept Buzz Peterson on because they're called the Hornets and his first name is Buzz.
Okay, I guess. I thought you were being serious there. Instead,
No.
instead you're just being funny.
I am trying to be funny. Was it funny?
No. Last item here is Giannis is Giannis Antetokounmpo is tough to cover as LeBron James.
Well,
is.
according to Jonathan Isaac, not quite, but he's getting kind of close. We're giving this one head so far because Jonathan Isaac was
really
given an interview. He talked about how Giannis is one of the toughest players in the entire NBA to guard and says that he's the next toughest player to cover outside of LeBron James. He said that Giannis is actually faster than people think, which doesn't make any sense to me, seeing as Giannis can scale the entire NBA court in 6 steps. So I don't know how much faster you can get than that one, but he does say that Giannis is way faster on the court than on television. And Isaac also said that NBA defense is easier than expected, though I don't really know how much sense that makes, seeing as he hasn't really played at all this season.